Okay, so an important part of being able to find the area of a shape is being able to find the area of a composite shape. Okay, and what we mean by a composite shape is basically a shape made up of multiple different shapes. Okay, so I've given you the formulas for lots of different shapes, and now we're basically going to stick them all together to create a whole different shape entirely. So it doesn't necessarily have a name. I mean, this first one is technically a type of quadrilateral. It's got 4 sides, but it's not specific enough to have a formula. Okay, the point of the second shape is that it has a kind of a shape cut out of it. And as long as that's the case, then the area is not going to be the whole thing. And we have to think about it in more detail, okay? So there's a bit more to this than just using a formula. So if I look at this first one, okay, what we basically have is we have 3 different shapes, okay? We have a first shape here, which, don't do that. First shape here, which is just a rectangle, okay? And then we have another shape over here, which is a triangle. And then a third shape over here, which is just a different triangle. So to find the area of the whole shape, remembering basically the area is the space inside the shape, we need to split it into 3 different shapes and then add them all together at the end, okay? So start with a rectangle. So to find the area of a rectangle, it is length multiplied by breadth, okay? Right, we can see hopefully that the length across the top here is the 8 meters. But we need to be careful here. This 9 meters relates to the whole height of this shape. So you can't just look and just pick a number. You have to pick the appropriate one. And in this case, it's the 6. So the area of that rectangle is 8 times by 6, which is 48. I can worry about units at the end. Don't need to worry about it just now, but I do need to remember that I need to put them in at the end. Okay, so now I'm going to look at the pink shape. Okay, so this triangle over here. So the first thing I want to think about is the fact that it is a triangle. And to find the area of a triangle, it's half times by base times by height. Okay, so I need those 2 things. Right, this is a little bit more awkward, okay? So the base, basically what I need to find is I need to find this length here, and it's not given to me on this diagram. I need to work it out for myself from what else is there. So what I know is that the 12 meters covers the length of the whole shape, okay? And then this 8 meters covers this part along the top, in which case the bit I'm looking for, that pink line, must be the difference between them. If it's only 8 going from this end line, and that's kind of what I'm focusing on, this is 8 meters here, but to get from this line all the way to the end of the shape, it's 12 meters. That means this bit that's missing in between must be 12 minus 8, and 12 minus 8 is 4. So the base, therefore, is 4 meters, and I can see that the height is just 6. So I can do half times by 4 times 6. Remember what I said, it doesn't matter which order you do that in. A half of 4 is 2, times that by 6, I get 12. I could do 4 times 6, which is 24, half of that's 12. I could do half of 6, which is 3, times by 4 is still 12, okay? So that gives me those 2 shapes, and I still need to find the area of the green one, okay? So again, it's a triangle, so it's again half times base times height, okay? I've got my half. Right, the base and the height are interchangeable. It doesn't really matter which one's which, okay? I generally go the horizontal one as the base, and then the height being the vertical one. So I'm gonna look for this length here, okay, and it is the whole thing that I need, which is the 12 meters. Okay, so I can pop that in my formula. And then I need my height. Okay, again, that's this length here. I don't just look at the 9 because the 9 relates to the whole width or the whole height of this shape. Okay, I just want this little bit here. But again, in the same way that I found the pink line over for the other triangle, I could see hopefully that if this is 9 meters all the way from the top to the bottom of this shape, and then I also know that 6 just goes from the top down to the start of the triangle, then what that means, if this is 6 and the whole thing is 9, then the bit that I need, the height of the triangle, must just be 3, okay? So there's a half times by 12 times by 3. And again, I can pick how I do that, but hopefully you can see if I did half times by 12, which is 6, times it by 3, I get 18. That's probably the easiest way of doing it. 12 times 3 is 36, half of that is 18. Half of 3 is 1.5, and 1 1/2 12 is still 18, okay? Right, bottom line is though, at the end of all this, what I need to do is I need to find the area of the full thing. Now the area of the full thing will be the 3 numbers added together, okay? So I write something along the lines of total area along the bottom, and then I take those 3 numbers and add them all together. 48, 12, and 18. 48 and 12 makes 60, plus the 18 is 78. And the one thing I must not forget is my units. Units that are used in the question are meters, but because I'm finding area, it must be meters squared, okay? So the total area of that shape is 78 meters squared, okay? So moving on to the next one. So quite often what they'll say is find the area of the shaded section. So I've tried to shade this in with some squiggly lines. Okay, but you can see hopefully that what you've got is you've got an outer shape and then you've got a bit cut out. The bit cut out is a triangle. So I'm going to need to find the area of that because that's no longer part of the area. That's been taken away. Okay, so I need to put that in my calculations as well. But I'm going to start by finding the area of the outer shape. Right, so I need to identify what kind of shape this is. So hopefully you can see that that is a trapezium. Okay, and if I'm finding the area of a trapezium, it's half of A plus B times by H, okay, or some form of that formula, okay. So what I need my half, and then I need to add together the top and the bottom. They're given for me, so that's fine, 5 and 10, and then I need to multiply that by the height, which is also given for me, 6, okay. So again, I can do this in any order. 5 plus 10 is 15, okay. If I times that by 6, I get 90, and half of that is 45. If you want to stick it in a calculator, that's absolutely fine, entirely up to you. But that's the area of the whole shape, okay? But what's happened here is that there's been a triangle cut out, okay? So this bit here has been cut out of my area of my trapezium, so it's not going to be 45 entirely, okay? It's going to be a little bit less than that. So I need to find the area of the triangle. Because it's a triangle, it's half times base times height, okay? In which case I need those dimensions. Half. Right, my base is this line here, and that's given to me nicely as 3, and I can see hopefully that the height there is 5. So half of 3 times 5. Right, half of 3 is 1.5, times by 5 is 7.5. However you do this, you're going to end up with a decimal. 3 times 5 is 15, and half of that is 7.5. Doesn't matter how you do it, you're going to end up with that decimal, in which case you have to deal with that decimal. But this final part you've got to be very careful of, because what's happened here, as I've said a couple of times, is that for the total area, we have a bit taken out. So we had the 45, but then we basically lost a 7.5. We cut that out the middle, okay? And 45 minus 7.5 is 37.5. And it's not just bananas, okay? This is centimeters, okay? So for this shape, we're working in centimeters, in which case our area will be in centimeters squared, okay? So just a couple of things to look out for there, and just use the working that you can, okay, that you know. Take it in stages and just deal with each shape individually, okay? But make sure you identify what shape it is, make sure you get the right formula for that shape, and make sure you get the right dimensions. Don't just pick and choose any numbers that you fancy, okay? It has to be the appropriate dimensions, and then pop them into the appropriate formula, okay?